Welcome to Soapdish and my co-host, Luann Perschau. Hi, Luann.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, we were chatting a little bit earlier about what's happening on our show, and we have a pretty lengthy program here today because of a lot's happening on the Young and Restless.
Oh, we sure do with their little gala that they have going on, and Phyllis, disappearing and dying.
Lot to talk about.
Yes, so let's get at it.
All right, let's do it. So between Jill and Devon and Lily, I'm going to start out with this storyline. It's decided not to merge companies, and this all kind of started with Victor Newman talking to Jill, but what ends up happening is Devon's super moved at the dedication of the jazz bar that's dedicated to Neil Winters, his father, and of course, Victor was involved with funding that, so of course,
yes, Victor to the rescue. Yeah,
Victor to the rescue.
Yes, yes,
exactly.
And
right.
Devon seems very comfortable with that decision, and now he has no interest in Tucker McCall. So Tucker's left trying to figure out who wants to buy his company because Victoria turned him down too now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with McCall. Tucker.
Yeah,
McCall.
he's getting kind of desperate.
He is,
like you said.
Yeah.
I think he's just about things are ready to go bankrupt, so he's just trying to dump it off on somebody else.
Yes, I agree with you. But I think, Lily and Devon are going to work on their relationship and their business relationship now, thanks to Victor.
Thanks to good old Victor, my buddy.
Yes.
All right, so next let's talk about the big storyline that's happening is Phyliss and Jeremy are plotting a big event that they're going to pull off at the Genoa City Bi-Centennial Masquerade Gala event.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. It's a lot to swallow there. And, Phyllis was hesitating several times. She wasn't sure if she could go through with it. And Jeremy kept saying, "Are you backing out on this? You better not be backing out." But they moved ahead.
They did. I was surprised by that.
Me too.
Yeah. So all the guests kind of start arriving, including a lot of our past characters from The Young and the Restless.
Yes, it's been nice to see them.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I didn't write it down, Luann, but the gal that's kind of the gossip news reporter, the blonde. I'm like, wow, I forgot. I kind of completely forgot about her character back when she was on.
Yeah, it sounded like she must have been a pain back then, and she's still a pain.
She was. She's even a bigger pain now, the way it looks. So
Right.
All right, so as Phyllis ends up kind of luring Diane up to her room by saying that Kyle needed her.
Right.
So, and meanwhile, Jack's picking...
Or Jeremy.
I'm sorry. Jeremy's picking Jack's pocket and takes the wedding band that Jack was planning to give Diane during the gala.
Right, I know. So, there's these two different scenarios going on at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I still couldn't quite figure out what the plan was.
I know, because I thought, they were throwing me off a little bit because I thought, are they going to catch Diane choking Phyllis? And which they did. But
right.
I thought there'd be more to that part, but then there was still more to it.
Right. So what ends up happening is Diane goes up to the room, and Phyllis is there in that room, not Kyle. They get into kind of a lengthy verbal confrontation that ends up turning physical.
Yeah.
And they're kind of rolling around, and all of a sudden Diane gets kind of advantage, and she's on top choking, like you said, Luann, choking Phyllis.
Yes.
And about this time, Jack, Summer, and Kyle, they all walk in.
Right. And at that point, Diane is saying, we would be better off without you here.
Right. Yeah.
As she's joking, Diane, Phyllis had pushed Diane very far, where Diane kind of lost her cool, and
she did.
She, like she said, she was caught up in the heat of the moment, which she was.
Yep. All right, so that fight kind of gets broken up, and as the gala continues, Jack makes the big announcement that, and Diane's standing right next to him, makes the announcement he has asked Diane to marry him, and she's accepted.
Right, and everybody is shocked, and
Everybody's like, oh
my, and they're trying to be happy, but they're not really happy for him.
yeah, and there's so many people that like Jack, but they can't stand Diane.
Correct.
So right after this was the best part, I thought. So Phyllis confronts Diane about how evil she is, and she just starts tearing her apart.
I know, she goes on and on.
On and on and on. And people at the gala are trying to shut her up. I was really thinking, Luann, as I was watching this, that in real life, somebody would go over and grab Phyllis.
I know. They would.
You know what I mean?
It's like, come on, Phyllis, let's take this offline here.
Right. Like one of the kids or somebody.
Yeah, and both Summer and Daniel were kind of giving her a look like, Mom, what? You're losing it again.
Right. Yeah, right. So that goes on for a while, and then all of a sudden, Phyllis passes out and falls on the floor, and she's pretty unresponsive.
Yeah, because to make her, her blood pressure, her pulse, everything, whatever she had consumed or taken in, really shut her whole system down.
Right. So they end up, Nate and Alina are actually at the bar, so somebody goes and grabs them. They come in, and you could see, like you said, Nate had a lot of concern because of her vitals weren't good.
Right.
So eventually the ambulance shows up, and she's transported. They load her up and transport her. Now I'm trying to remember. I was going to ask you for clarification, but the driver, the ambulance driver, finds or sees Jack's wedding ring, doesn't he? During this time,
yeah, he sees the diamond.
It's in her hand or somewhere.
Yes, the diamond ring is in Phyllis's hand.
Right,
and she's holding it, and Diane sees it, and she grabs it out of Phyllis's hand. And the ambulance driver.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and the ambulance driver notices that and mentions that to Chase.
Oh, that's another thing that makes
Chance.
Chance. That's what makes her look guilty.
Yes.
Okay, so now the ambulance, like I said, transports, but it disappears. It never shows up at the hospital. So now Chance is on our buddy Detective Chance is on the case.
Oh, right.
He later learns that the vehicle is found, the ambulance, and that it has crashed. Now I'm not sure if they were sure it was an ambulance.
Yeah, if it was if it was a single vehicle accident or what was going on. Right. I think they determined he was avoiding a deer.
Right. That's what the guy said. Yeah,
yes.
The other driver.
Yeah.
Or other ambulance attendant.
Right.
So a little bit later, Chance gets a call that it's determined that the vehicle that crashed was in fact the ambulance transporting Phyllis.
Yes.
So that's kind of laid out. Now the driver. The ambulance attendant that survived tells the story how he couldn't get Phyllis or the ambulance driver. So I'm assuming this guy was back attending to Phyllis.
Correct. That's what I have the feeling. Yes.
Yeah. And the thing started on fire, and he said he wasn't able to get either one of them out.
Correct. But he happened to keep the blood vial.
Yeah. So I'm trying to decide how that works, but that's interesting.
Yeah, how they happen to get that and save that.
Right, right. The ambulance driver, it turns out, or the attendant, planted blood, as you've mentioned, at the scene that matches Phyllis's. And I kind of thought when this was all going on, I'm thinking this ambulance guy's on the take.
That's what
he's got to be working with Stark.
Yes, that's what I thought. Because
sure enough, he is.
Yeah, because Stark was paying him off, and when Phyllis asked, "Well, he's involved. How sure are you he's not going to say anything?" He said, "Well, I won't see him after today. After I pay him off." And he said, just like the ambulance driver, he said, he's far away, probably in another country. And I got the impression that it was two dead corpses that died somewhere else. That's what's in the ambulance. So first question is, wouldn't they be doing a autopsy on those bodies at some point? I would hope. And dental records.
The thing of it is, even in a fire like that, normally most of the dental survives. Mm-hmm. So you can still do dental comparisons,
right.
etc. Even if, but yeah, it's a soap opera. I always have to kind of keep remembering.
Right, that. Right. I know.
All right.
They stretch things a little bit.
Just a little. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a little. All right. So next, so as you said, ambulance guy comes to Stark's room and gets paid off, and then he leaves.
Yes.
Chance next, though, does a search of Diane's room. He's kind of looking for, or not Diane's, I'm sorry, Phyllis's room. Mm-hmm. Right?
Correct. It was Phyllis.
It was
Phyllis's room.
Yeah. And Stark happened to be there when he showed up. Yes. But he ends up finding a bottle of cyanide while he's there. Mm-hmm. He has the lab, his Genoa City police lab, do a research on it to find out, because there's federal ID numbers on those bottles,
right,
to see who purchased it.
Correct.
And today he gets a text while he's at the memorial gathering for Phyllis that Diane Jenkins bought the bottle.
I know. I don't know how they pinned that on her, because it's like you'd almost have to do a credit card or something that they could tell it was. Don't
you think Phyllis probably went in there with a wig and a fake ID or something?
Could be. Yeah, because it's like, how could they figure it out? It was, you'd think they'd pay cash for it, but.
Yeah.
But if they have surveillance cameras, maybe they, like you said, maybe she came in with a wig. She's
a disguise and fake ID.
Mm-hmm.
They would have ID'd her, because that type of drug,
yes.
you can't just.
Yeah,
you can't just buy off the shelf.
So somewhere they got their hands on one of Diane's IDs.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of thinking, wasn't there a time when somebody was going through her wallet or something?
Phyllis was, and that's when she found the ring too.
She probably stole that ID too.
Yeah.
Probably learned that later.
Right.
All right. So the memorial service goes on, and that's been going on from our benefit for the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In terms of the soap itself. The last couple of days, friends and family have been making statements, and, good, fond memories of Phyllis over the years and all that.
Fond memories and regrets that they had.
Right. It's kind of funny how when, it's kind of funny how when she was alive, everybody was like they couldn't stand her. Now everybody's just.
You just remember the good times.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yes, and and even prior to the memorial service occurring, Jeremy had gone back to their little hotel room that they had gone to after the accident, and when he's in there, right before he came back, Phyllis was in there with her wig and her heels, and I thought because she was still regretting having done this, and I think Phyllis didn't realize what she was really getting herself into at this point. And then right. Jeremy said, "You will be leaving the country." He said, "You've got plenty of money now, and you can leave the country, start your life over." And she still was curious, because she's like, "I want to see what's happening at my memorial service, my celebration of life service." And I think she's kind of nosy, it's just like, well, will people really, really miss me? And I think she just was, I don't think she realized what she was getting herself in to make herself disappear. And then when Jeremy got that telephone call and that person said, "Guess what? Phyllis wasn't on the plane last night." And he said, "What do you mean she wasn't on the plane?" So now he was back in the room. He's like, "Phyllis, where are you?" And then the next thing we see Phyllis is like you're going to tell us.
Yep. Yep.
She's at her memorial.
Yeah, she shows up. She shows up at the memorial with a wig and a pair of glasses on.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I get a kick out of this because, like none of those people still couldn't recognize her, even with that costume.
Exactly, and then
that's silly.
I know. And then a couple things. You have a very small, intimate group, so you're going to be able to see most everyone in the room. Where if it's a big group, you can hide behind people.
Right.
And it's not like Phyllis was in hiding or in the background. She was kind of
out
there.
She's standing right in the corner, right there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're right. If you could lose yourself in a crowd, that'd be a little bit different. But.
Yeah. So that was an interesting take on that.
So kind of the cliffhanger today was the police find a note at the Abbotts after Chance had requested a search warrant. It's a letter. And it took me a minute to register what this letter. I had to actually rewind it. What?
Yeah.
You know, but the letter was written by Phyllis allegedly to Diane, saying she will not be Jack's wife as long as she is alive.
Correct.
So again, creating more motive.
Yeah, and like I'm afraid of Diane. You know, and
yep. They're building up more and more motive. Part of the frame up on Diane. After this is that Chance ends up arresting Diane. And there's still some of the guests are still at the memorial thing going forward. And what's funny is as they're kind of taking her away, she sees Michael Baldwin and she says, "Michael, can you help me?" Well, and Michael and Lauren would kill him.
I know. He was between a rock and a hard place. He couldn't.
Yeah. I thought maybe he was going to take it, and then he goes, "No, Diane, I can't.
No.
I can't represent you, but I will find you a good lawyer."
Yeah, and he was giving her some free advice. This is what you need to do. Don't
keep your mouth shut.
Right.
When you're going to the police station, all that kind of stuff.
So I thought it was interesting how they, as they were arresting Diane, then in the background you could hear Phyllis reading her letter, and that's when they were finding the letter in Jack's house. That so I thought it was kind of neat how they put that together.
Yeah, that's right. And that's part of what I was trying to figure out what's going on. Is this Phyllis talking or is it? But then after I watch it twice, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how long Phyllis can try to stay incognito because I think she's too much in everyone's face that this is very hard for her not to speak up or say something or get back out there. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that.
Yes.
Let's go into predictions.
Well, you go first.
Do you have anything along those lines?
Well, you go first. I'm going to hear what you have to say because you have some good predictions.
Sometimes. I am going to say that Phyllis is going to go along with this for a while, and I think she will actually leave for a while.
Okay.
But something is going to happen to one of the kids, her Phyllis's kids, or granddaughter,
Summer or Daniel, or
or
the young girl.
I'm trying to think of Daniel's daughter's name. She's hasn't been on much, but something like that, and that's going to bring her back.
Yes, because
she's not going to be able to stay away, and she's going to end up double crossing Jeremy, and then he's going to be pissed. So I do think she's going to go away because she understands that she has to. But I agree with everything you said, Luann. She's not going to be able to stay away.
No, not for very long. No.
So.
And there's a part of me that wonders, could someone else be working with Phyllis on this to try to set up Jeremy, kind of a double sting with him? I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know who it might be if, because they still want to get him. People don't really like Jeremy. But I don't know if they dislike Diane more. They want to see her hurt.
Well, Phyllis surely does.
Phyllis sure does. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I was just trying to see if there's anything else here I was going to predict. Well, kind of the obvious. I think Lily Lily is going to fall for Daniel.
Do you think?
I mean, I think that's already starting to happen.
Yes, and that
I can see those two getting involved.
yeah, and I could see that
coming up.
I could see Daniel falling for her more than her falling for him at this point yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think he's more into her than she's into him yet. That's just my impression.
Okay. So another prediction I would make is that Jack is going to. This is going to cause Jack to go one way or the other, and I think he's going to question whether Diane did it. I think he's really going to question has she really changed?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see like Kyle's reaction, Jack's reaction now that she's been arrested, to see how they
How if they believe her, what she's saying,
right,
or doubt her.
I'm gonna say Jack's gonna doubt her. I think Kyle will too. But I also could see Jack sticking up for her against everybody else. He's really brainwashed around her.
He really loves her, and I believe that he will believe her and defend her.
Do you think he will?
Yeah, with everyone.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't shock me at all. Everybody else, I think, is going to think she did it. I mean, they're going to say she's guilty.
Right. And on another prediction I believe at some point here that Sally is going to start moving over towards Adam a little bit more, because she's in yesterday's episode, especially when Summer kind of chewed Summer out Summer chewed out Sally that you have no right even being at my mother's memorial. I don't want you there, and you should be with Adam because he's really the father of your child anyway. And so when Sally sat down with Adam in the restaurant and they were talking, and she said, "Would you like to come with me to the appointment?" And Adam was all in with it, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm excited about this." And you could just kind of see Sally. It's like, Nick is supportive, but Sally sees not as much hassles with dealing with Adam, as with Nick, because of Summer getting involved. So,
right.
I think Sally may see some benefits and a better exchange of enjoying this pregnancy with Adam than she does with Nick because of Summer.
Yeah, and he's, Adam's been pretty kind to her since he found out everything about the baby and everything. So she sees that as a kinder, gentler Adam, I think. I still think what's going to happen is, and I agree with you, I think something's going to happen with Adam and her getting closer and closer. But I think she's going to lose the baby at some point. And because it's kind of a common soap opera, a storyline, it seems like. But I can't decide if that then drives her closer to Adam, or she gets closer to Adam and then something happens to the baby. And now what does she do? Does she stick with Adam, or does she go back to Nick?
Right. Right. And the crazy part, when we talked about this, one of our last podcasts, is I don't think Victor still knows.
No, I don't. You're right. I don't think he does either.
I'm amazed that.
And how the hell you keep a secret from Victor? That's interesting.
I know. I agree. But no, it'll be interesting to see over the next episodes how this continues on with Phyliss, Diane, and Jeremy. Just because at some point they have to do more investigations into this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, I think it's going to proceed for a while. She's going to go to jail. The police will eventually, more and more evidence and things are going to come up that don't make sense.
Correct.
And it's going to, they're going to start poking holes in this whole story and plot that Jeremy and Phyllis did.
Right.
I think.
Right.
All right.
Good. And another.
Go ahead.
One other last prediction. It's a wild one.
Go ahead.
A wild one out there.
Oh, I like Wild One.
I still think, Bold and Beautiful. We watched that one also. That's on your podcast with Terry. I still
think
at some point Sheila's going to escape somehow, and they're going to bring her back to Young and the Restless somehow, because Lauren even alluded to it at the memorial.
I know. I saw that.
How she said how Phyllis was, helping me out when Sheila was, the crazy lady going after me. And I thought, wouldn't that would give it some more juicy.
Yeah, and I can see the writers doing that because they like doing those crossovers. So you kind of wear out a story on one soap and then you move her over and start another one. I could see that totally.
Because Sheila's been on both shows, and I don't believe Sheila will disappear. She's too strong of a character and good character that she's a good bad person.
Well, as long as you're talking bold, because Terry and I can't podcast this week. So what do you think is going to happen with the Thomas, Hope, Liam scenario?
Boy. I Hope is trying to not give in to temptation, but they'll probably be working late one night, or taking some hints from Victoria and Nate, and on the Young and Restless.
Well, they got caught today too. Did
Yes,
you see
I saw that. But I believe Hope may give in to some of that, and because Thomas is.
I think
Thomas is playing it pretty cool, but no,
he's playing it absolutely right because she sees his kindness and all that now. She's kind of she's seeing,
Yeah, she sees his strength in helping her clothing line too, and she's kind of dependent on him to make that happen and be successful for her.
Yeah. She's in love.
She's in love. Yeah.
So, and then she got caught, or Nate and Victoria got caught.
Yes.
By, what's her name again?
What is her name?
I want to say Alina, but that's from ours.
Yeah.
I get my soaps run together.
But they did.
Audra.
Yes, Audra happened to overhear them. She could hear them late at night in their office.
So they were in the office. Nate and Victoria were having cocktails, and it got romantically. All of a sudden, Nate gave in after all this time. So he ends up giving in, and it's the old clear off the desk thing for a whoopee session.
That's right. And
then Audra hears them outside. She hears, I always call it adult noises from outside the room.
Yeah, she didn't even have to see it. She knew what was going on there just by what she was hearing.
Yeah. So anyway, that soap's pretty good right now too.
Right. Yeah. She had worked him down to where he couldn't refuse anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and she did work him. That's right.
She did.
I agree with that. All right. Well, that was fun.
It was.
Until we get together and dish again, Luann. Keep it sudsy.
I will, and look forward to dishing with you again, Mark.
All right. Sounds good. We're out.
Bye.